What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can tell by the title, we have some interesting and kind of, how do I want to say this without being offensive? Like, just kind of like dumb things that Lorenzo said. Not the things that he's saying themselves being dumb. It's how we got here that's dumb, basically. So this was brought to my attention by TF Hype Guy on Twitter. Shout out to you, man. So Lorenzo de Bonaventura, and if you don't know who that is, he's like the main producer on every Transformers movie since the first one, since its development in like 2003 or 4, and he's been on the projects ever since. He did an interview with Collider like a couple days ago or something for the release of Transformers 1, and he said some interesting things here. Not bad things, but we'll talk about it. So I'm going to read you guys some excerpts and give you all my thoughts on it, as always. So, and I quote, "Instead of them reacting to humans or reacting to the human plot, the next live-action movie will be a crossover. Where it will be particularly affected is the fact that we now know that these robots are capable of emotionally, in a way." Okay, that little sentence there made no sense, but whatever. "So we're going to have to figure out how to create that room, that we can afford that, and create a story that you can take more advantage of that. So one of the things that I'm particularly interested in doing, and we're still in the development phase, so nothing is by any means written in stone, but I think we need to do more now from the robot point of view in the live action, because that's the only way you're really going to get inside them." Okay, so I'm gonna read another excerpt, then give y'all my opinion on what he's saying here. "Instead of them reacting to humans or reacting to the human plot, what is their drive has to be part of that story now. So it's going to be complicated, because now the hardest thing about a lot of the franchise movies is how many characters there are, and the more characters you try to manage, the harder it is to make a bunch of really good ones. You kind of got to keep going, keep it smaller. So we'll be in that process for a while, where we'll start with a bunch of Joes and a bunch of Transformers, and I'll say regular humans, and then you're going to do this. That's kind of where we are right now, is trying to put the larger thing in place. The trick in this one, like we were talking about here, and trying to find that tone and balance is like, well, how much of the Joes do you want, and how much of the Transformers do you want?" So I get what he's saying here. It makes sense, mostly, but why did it take about 20 years to get to this point? So he's saying we now realize that the Transformers have emotions and feelings and are actual characters. Lorenzo, you're a producer on the Transformers movies. You should know what it's about. 20 years with having experience in this franchise, you should know this. I don't know why it took Transformers 1 to realize it would be more ideal to write a Transformers movie through the perspective and story and drive of the Transformers themselves, and not a human story propelled by Transformers lore, which is what we've basically gotten for every live-action Transformers movie. So, buddy, obviously it's not a good sign. Obviously, it's just another example in the many examples over the last however many years of just how stupid Lorenzo seems about the very franchise he's producing for. Every interview, it seems like there's always a gem of just stupidness he says here. Again, what he's saying isn't ridiculous. It's how we got there that is ridiculous. So, I mean, I don't know. We've been hearing about trying to balance the characters for about a year now, since the movie has been teased or announced or whatever. So when are we going to get past this point? It's not that hard to tell a Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover story. You have any character at your disposal at this point. You really have only scratched the surface with the Transformers characters in this new continuity. You haven't picked any G.I. Joe characters in this new continuity, so you could really play with anything right now. So And with all the lore that G.I. Joe and Transformers has separately in their own respected franchises and together whenever they have crossover over the last 40 years, you would think it would be easy, just like that, to come up with a story where these two characters and factions can coexist. I've talked about that before in previous videos over the past year, and it seems like Lorenzo and the writers, whoever is working on this movie right now, just doesn't have a grip on G.I. Joe and Transformers, which is absolutely ridiculous to me at this point. And keep in mind, Lorenzo has also been a producer on every G.I. Joe film as well. He's had his hands in G.I. Joe 2, basically the same type of way as he has with Transformers. And that's been going on with development of the movies on Paramount for G.I. Joe for almost 20 years now, like 17 years. So you've had experience, extensive, heavy experience over the last 20 years with both franchises. You could cross them over. It's what a lot of fans would like to see. I know not every fan out there wants to see that, but a lot of fans do, especially casual fans who just love the movies and love certain aspects of the cartoons and G1 and stuff, and certain aspects of G.I. Joe. People in general just would like to see a cool crossover like this, whether you're a mega fan or a casual fan, even though there are, again, a lot of fans that don't want to see that. And if you guys hear noises in the background, it's raining pretty hard right now. Yay, South Florida weather can be so hectic sometimes. But what was I saying? So, yeah, I don't know why we're still in this phase of, oh, we're trying to figure out what to do. We're trying to figure out what characters and how to keep the balance and how to keep it small scale and how to keep the characters in the story grounded and how to tell stories from the robot's point of view, even though we've had 7 Transformers movies to practice with that, 20 years of story writing to practice with that, and we're still trying to figure things out after a year of announcing a G.I. Joe and Transformers collab movie. Come on, guys, this doesn't sound good. I mean, what he's saying sounds promising. It seems like he's finally learning, even though it was absolutely ridiculous the amount of time it took him to learn this. But at this point, it's like, why are we still talking about the exact same points? Why are we still at basically square one in development of this movie? It seems like, from what he's saying, at least from this interview, they could be further along than what he's trying to say in this interview. We don't know, but it seems like they're still in super early writing stages, which makes no sense. They've had over a year at this point. Over a year. Like a year and like 5 months of development on a story of a G.I. Joe and Transformers movie. And we're still at square one, basically, it seems like. Absolutely ridiculous. Paramount, Lorenzo, the writers on this movie right now, get yourselves together. It's really not that hard. Just go on TF Wiki and search up some Transformers lore. There's so much stuff you could do with these characters. It is not that hard to come up with a cohesive, concise story from the Transformers point of view that also introduces a little bit of G.I. Joe and Cobra. Why not? Just do it. It's not that hard. But yeah, guys, I don't want to ramble on too much longer. Just figured I'd talk about what he said in this interview and spill the beans on how ridiculous this kind of is that took this long to learn this and why we're still in the same stupid boat with this G.I. Joe crossover movie, it seems like. But yeah, guys, let me know down in the comments below. How do y'all feel about what Lorenzo said here? All my social medias are linked down below, including my email. If you guys want to hit me up about business inquiries, or if you want to message me about whatever, or if you want to subscribe to my new Patreon link down below, it's got tons of exclusive content that you won't see here on YouTube or anywhere else, such as exclusive stop motions, toy photography, 1 week access before everybody else here on YouTube to my stop motion films, exclusive music and music snippets from my stop motion films, behind the scenes of projects I'm working on, such as dioramas, stop motions, photography. So if you guys want to help support me and help support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff on my Patreon this weekend coming up, so stay tuned for that if you guys want to see it. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye!